Stockholm when Karin Dreger, half of the Swedish electronic duo The Knife, first emerged in her solo guise, Fever Ray. The words most often used to describe her music and live shows were chilly, glacial, mysterious, claustrophobic. Fun was rarely one of them. So finding out that fun should be the defining feature of her second album, Plunge, was almost as much of a surprise as the existence of the record itself. It dropped, unannounced, in October. It's been supplemented by a series of videos featuring Ms. Dreger engaged in a sadomasochistic tea party and battling relationship demons, a story that may continue in the live tour she begins this month. The album still features the dense, velvety layered textures of her debut, with brighter, clearer vocals. But there is one major change: she's singing about sex. A lot. I think it's very weird as an artist to stay in a certain atmosphere for your whole life, Ms. Dreger said over coffee on a sub-zero day here. And in the 8 years between albums, she has undergone significant personal shifts, starting with a divorce from her husband. But Plunge is no breakup record. Instead, it investigates and celebrates what it means to be single, what it means to be free. I have always been in relationships, and I understand now that it's really good to be by yourself for some time, she said. It's not a scary thing. It's also a celebration of newly embraced sexual explorations. She may be based near Stockholm, where her 2 teenage daughters go to school, but Ms. Dreger has been spending a lot of time in Berlin. And Berlin is a great city of queer happenings, she said. On the album's lead single, To the Moon and Back, Ms. Dreger is explicit about her desire for women. While the video gleefully embraces kink, she plays a bald-head creature, awoken from a cryogenic slumber to find herself in a community of fantastical, fetish gear-wearing women who use her as a table then urinate on her face. To her delight, I wanted it to be very joyful and collective and sisterly. A very important thing was not to show sexuality as something dark and difficult, Ms. Dreger said. Does it still feel radical to be a woman singing about sexual desire in a way that's both free and explicit? I think it's super radical, actually, she said. It's very sad that it is that way. She later explained that she was expressly not trying to please a heterosexual cis man. I know what I'm doing is not a mainstream thing, she said, before a long pause. That's great. The new, brighter visual aesthetic was developed with her longtime collaborator and fellow Swede Martin Falk, who sees the record as a reflection of what he called his friend's transformation. It's about finding your fun, and embracing it, he said. For all her newfound openness on record, Ms. Dreger guards her privacy fiercely. She wore a variety of masks on stage as both Fever Ray and The Knife, and she will not do TV or awards ceremonies. Before I worried it was very important to keep my private self apart from the job, she said. But I think I have found a way to have these things separately. Instead of masks, for Plunge, Ms. Dreger and Mr. Falk have created a series of characters. There's the bald-heading being, but also a monster, which Ms. Dreger explained represents a toxic partner, or something that it's hard to quit. These guises allow her to externalize conflicted elements of her own identity, but they also offer an artistic framework for her self-revelations. Ms. Dreger said she has always worked, where possible, with women or non-binary individuals. For this album, the list included the producers Paula Temple, Dina Abdelwad and Nydia. In a telephone interview, Ms. Temple, a British techno producer based in Berlin, said Ms. Dreger wanted the recording process to be non-hierarchical. "You don't feel like you're working with a superstar," she said. She has a vision, but it always feels deeply experimental too. On Plunge, the vision involved songwriter as an attempt to make sense of viscerally intense emotions. Ms. Dreger described falling in and out of love, and lust, as very physical feelings. She added, "Your heart explodes and falls out of your body and you think you're going to die." Before laughing at her own histrionics, "I like to try things. I don't want this old story of love that I have been told," she said. "I want something else."